Good morning, everyone. I will speak in English. Okay. My name is David. I'm 30 years old, and I was born in Israel. Actually, my father was born and raised here in Antwerp, and when he was 19, he moved to Israel. He was a member of a Zionist socialist youth movement here in Antwerp, and then he moved to Israel. And today I'm a second-year student in a college near the city of Sderot in the south of Israel, which you might have heard of from the news because for 8 years now this city has been attacked by Qassam rockets every day. And last year, during the war in Gaza, the situation was that I was in my house and we had maybe 70 or 80 missiles every day firing all over our area. And at the same time, when I look out my window, I can see a line of smoke above the city of Gaza and above the Gaza Strip. Now, I have been a peace activist and human rights activist since the age of 14. And in Israel, when you reach the age of 18, you have to join the army. It's the law, and everyone has to go, boys and girls. And I have to tell you, growing up in the region that we grew up in, it makes sense to you that you need to go to the army because you need to protect your family, you want to protect your home, to protect your country. Even if you are against the occupation, you still want to protect your home. So I joined for 3 years to the army. I served in a combat unit, in the infantry. I spent a lot of time in Lebanon, in Gaza, in Nablus, and most of my service was in the area of South Mount Hebron, which is also in the south of Israel. Now, about 10 years ago, in the year 99, I was sent with 2 of my friends to a mission in South Mount Hebron. I want to tell you that I was lucky enough not to be in too many dangerous situations during my service or in combat. And I was very happy to be sent to that mission, which was only to guard a settlement in South Mount Hebron. The idea of the settlement is that in 1967, after the war, Israel has occupied some territories, and where there are about 2 million Palestinians living there, and mostly Jewish religious people have decided to build new settlements or colonies next to those villages because they believe this is a part of the state of Israel as well, this land. And this creates, it's a very complicated legal issue in Israel if they are allowed to be there, if they're not allowed, and they create a lot of tension and a lot of conflict with the Palestinians who lived in those areas. So the law in Israel says that wherever a Jewish settler chooses to settle in those areas, the army must go and protect them. So as I said, one day me and 2 of my friends were sent to one of these settlements to guard their area. And when we got there, we had a little tent with us, and we were sent to one of the mountains. And on that mountain was one caravan. Now, the way it goes, in order to expand the settlements, what they do is every few months they take a caravan and they put it somewhere maybe 200 meters far from the settlement, and this way they can take more parts, more land. So even though nobody is living there, it's just one caravan. So we spent about a week there, me and two of my friends. And I remember one night I was standing there guarding. It was freezing cold, and I was looking around at this desert. And I'm turning around and I'm looking at this caravan and the two goats standing next to me. And all of a sudden I started thinking to myself, I'm standing here in the middle of nowhere and I'm guarding a building and two goats. I mean, how does this really protect my family? How is the fact that I'm standing here right now is helping to protect my country or my home? And that got me to think, and from that on I realized that I cannot fight the occupation and to continue believing in what I believe in human rights and actually serve in the occupied territories and in an army that is occupying another people. And so later on, after I finished my army service, I joined Combatants for Peace. Last year during the Gaza war, I joined one of the groups of Combatants for Peace because we have regional groups. And I joined the group of Combatants for Peace in the south. And one day I was going to take a tour in the area of South Mount Hebron, which is the area that I served in the army, and it happens also to be the area where Muhammad is living. And so I went there and I met with Muhammad that day and a few other friends of mine from the Palestinian group. And they took me to a field trip in the area. And as it happens, we got to the village, which was right next to the settlement that I was 10 years before. I was guarding 10 years before. And you know, that caravan that I used to guard is today a very big new settlement. It has about 30 new families there. And that made me realize that I had an effect. And then one of my friends, one of the Palestinian friends of mine, he took me and he pointed at one of the hills far away, and he said, "Look over there, David. You see? They're putting another caravan there. They're expanding another settlement." And at that moment, I realized that I was in the right place. I was in the right movement, and this is the right thing to do. Working together, Israelis and Palestinians, in a non-violent way, protesting against the Israeli occupation and promoting an Israeli state and a Palestinian state living in peace and security next to each other.